Crooks?
Well, they locked us up for a little while.
And we'd lock that kid up forever, and that's fine by me.
I never knew they did that. Of course they locked the door. What do you think? I don't know, it just never occurred to me.
So we admit right now that it's hot and humid and that our tempers are short.
It's been a pretty hard week.
I feel it's fine. What's going on down at the office? You know how it is in advertising. In 6 days, my job will be gone. The whole company, too. They're not going to like this.
Well, figure, this is our duty.
I didn't object to doing my duty. I just mentioned that I might not have a job by the time I get back.
Have him hire you. He's rich. Look at the suit.
Is it custom tailored? Yes, it is. I have an uncle who's a tailor. Oh, and how does he do? I have no friend who's a friend of my uncle, the tailor. Well, his friend, you don't want to be in the jury in my place.
Why didn't you let him? I haven't done anything to miss this.
Ain't he caught or something? No kind of fine you pay for anything like that. Well, his friend, he was on jury about 10 years ago. Case just felt like this one.
So what happened?
They let him go. Reasonable doubt. You know, 8 years later, they found out he'd actually done it anyway. A guilty man, a murderer, was turned loose on the streets.
Did they get him?
Well, they couldn't.
Why not?
A man can't be held in double jeopardy. Unless it's a hung jury, they can't try him twice for the same crime.
That isn't going to happen here.
6 days. Should have taken 2. Talk. Did you ever hear so much talk about nothing?
Well, I guess they're back.
Everybody gets a fair try. That's the system. Suppose you can't say anything against it.
How'd you like that story about the nun? Have you heard anything funnier in your life?
Well, you gotta expect that. You know what kind of people you're dealing with.
Bought a switch knife that night.
Then he lost it.
A hole in his pocket.
The hole in his father.
Terrible way to kill his father. I could understand.
Well, look at the people they are. You know 'em.
You have a brother?
Oh, Lulu. These hot weather colds can kill.
I have one. Last year, while I was on vacation.
All right, gentlemen, let's take seats.
Right. This better be fast. I've got tickets to a king and I for tonight. I must be the only guy in the world who hasn't seen it yet.
All right, how about sitting down? The gentleman by the window? How about sitting down?
Oh, I'm sorry. Tough to figure, ain't it? Kid up and kill his father. Bing, just like that. Well, it's the element. You know, they let their kids run wild. They deserve a notch.
You know, there are better proofs than some emotion you may have. Perhaps a dislike for some group of people.
We all agree it's fine.
That temper's holding short. That's if we just disagree. But this is open and shut. Let's get it done.
All right. Now, you gentlemen can handle this any way you want. I mean, I'm not going to make any rules. We can discuss it first and then vote. That's one way. We can vote right now and see where we stand.
Let's vote now. Who knows? Maybe we can all go now.
Yeah, let's see who's where.
Right, let's vote now.
All right, let us vote.
Anybody doesn't want to vote?
That was easy.
All right. All those voting guilty, raise your hands. 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, that's 11 for guilty. Not guilty? Okay. It's 11 to 1.
Here's left field.
11 guilty, 1 not guilty. Now we know where we stand.
Do you really believe this kid's not guilty?
I don't know.
After 6 days, he doesn't know.
In 6 days I can calculus. This is
is ABC.
I don't believe it's as simple as ABC.
Never saw a guiltier man in my life.
What does a guilty man look like? He's not guilty until we say he is. We're to vote on his face.
You sat right in court. You heard the same things I did. The man's a dangerous killer. You can see it in his face.
Where do you look to see if a man's a killer?
Well,
No, I would like to know. Tell me the facial characteristics of a killer. Maybe you know something I don't.
Look, what is it about this case that makes you think the boy is innocent?
He's 19 years old.
that's old enough. He knifed his own father 4 inches into the chest. An innocent 19-year-old boy.
Look, I agree with you that the boy is guilty. But I think that we should all try to avoid these emotionally colored arguments.
Okay, they proved it a dozen different ways in court. You want me to list them?
No.
Well, you believe that stupid story he told?
Please.
No, I said, you believe that kid's story?
I don't know whether I believe it or not. Maybe I don't.
So would you vote not guilty for?
There are 11 votes for guilty. It's not so easy for me to raise my hand and send a kid off to die without at least talking about it first.
Who said it's easy for me?
Or me.
No one.
He's still just as guilty, whether it's an easy vote or a hard vote.
Couldn't change my mind if you talked for 100 years.
I don't want to change your mind.
Just what are you thinking of?
I just want to talk for a while. Look, this kid's been kicked around all his life. You know, living in the slums, mother dead since he was 9. He's a tough, angry kid. Do you know why slum kids get that way? Because we knock them over the head once a day, every day. I think maybe we owe him a few words, that's all.
All right. It was hard, sure. I mean, it was hard for me. Everything I've got, I fought for. I worked my way through college. That was a long time ago. And perhaps you do forget. I fought, yes, but I never killed.
I know how it is. But I sure never killed nobody.
I've been kicked around too. Just wait until you've worked at an ad agency and the big boy that buys the advertising and walks in. We all know.
In my country, kicking was a science, but let's try to find something better than that.
So listen, mister, I don't mind telling you this, but we don't owe that kid a thing. He got a fair trial, didn't he? You know how much that child cost? He's lucky he even got it. Now, we're all grown-ups here. You're not going to sit there and tell us we have to believe this kid, knowing what he is. You know how these people lie? I've lived amongst them all my life. I can't believe a word they say. And you know that.
I don't know that. What a terrible thing for a man to believe. Since when is dishonesty a good characteristic? You have no nothing. All right, it isn't Sunday. You don't need a sermon. What this man says is very dangerous.
I don't see any need for behaving like this. I think we ought to behave like gentlemen here.
Right. All right, if you insist.
Thank you.
Sure.
Now, if we're going to discuss this case, why don't we discuss the facts?
That's a good point. We have a job to do.
That's true.
If you gentlemen don't mind, I'm going to close this window.
If you don't mind, I'd like to have it open.
But it was blowing on me.
Don't you want a little air? It's summer. It's hot.
It was very uncomfortable.
There are still 11 of us in this room. It's the only window. If you don't mind.
Oh, I have some rights too.
So do the rest of us.
Couldn't you trade chairs with someone at the other end of the table or something?
All right, I'll open the window if someone will trade.
Take my chair.
Thank you.
Shall we get back to the case?
Yeah, let's.
I may have an idea here. I'm just thinking out loud now, but it seems to me that it's up to us to convince this gentleman that we're right and he's wrong. Now maybe if we each talk for a minute or two, try to precise.
Sounds fair enough.
Very fair.
Supposing we go once around the table.
Okay, let's start it off.
Right. We'll start with you.
Well, I just thought the boy was guilty. I thought it was obvious.
In what way was it obvious?
I mean that no one proved otherwise.
Nobody has to prove otherwise. Innocent until proven guilty. The burden of proof is on the prosecution. The defendant doesn't even have to open his mouth. That's all in the Constitution, Fifth Amendment. You've heard of it.
Everyone has.
Well, of course I've heard of it. I mean, I know what it means. I just think the kid is guilty.
No reasons.
Just guilty? There's a life at stake here.
Okay, let's get down to the facts. Number one, let's take the old man who lived on the second floor apartment. Underneath the apartment where the murder took place. The old man, he said he heard a bunch of loud noises that sounded like a fight, about 10 minutes after midnight. He heard the kid yell, "I'm going to kill you." A second after that, he heard what sounded like a body fall on the floor. 15 seconds after that, he saw the kid run down the stairs and out the hall. He called the police the next morning. They found the father's body upstairs with a knife stuck in the chest.
In the corner, it's the time of death around midnight.
And what more do you want?
It doesn't seem to fit.
The boy's entire story is flimsy. He claims that he was at the movies. That's a little ridiculous, isn't it? I can't even remember which picture he saw.
And he didn't have his ticket stub either.
Who keeps a ticket stub at the movies?
Well, that's true.
I suppose the cashier didn't remember. And the ticket taker didn't either.
Yeah, and what about the old woman across the street? Her testimony doesn't prove it, nothing does.
That's right. She saw the killing, didn't she?
Let's go in order.
Hey, now wait a sec. Okay, here's the woman. She's lying in bed. You can't see, it's hot, you know. Anyway, she gets up, she looks out the window, and right across the street she sees a boy stick a knife into his father.
How can she really be sure it was the kid when she saw it through the windows of a passing elevated train?
She's known the kid all her life. His window's right across the street from her, and she swore to it.
I heard her swear to it.
Okay, now they prove in court that you can look through the windows of a passing L train at night and see what's going on the other side. Now they proved that.
Weren't you telling us a minute or two ago how you can't trust them? You can't believe them?
So?
I'd like to ask you something. How come you believed her? She's one of them too, isn't she?
You're a pretty smart fellow, aren't you?
Now take it easy.
Now calm down. What are you letting him get you all? Sit down, relax.
All right, Jake. They did take us out to the woman's house, and we looked through the windows of a moving elevated train, didn't we?
Yes, we did.
And were you able to see what was happening on the other side?
I didn't see as well as they told me.
Be personal.
Now let's calm down, buddy. Let's not be so sensitive. He didn't mean you.
Who did he mean?
I can understand the sensitivity.
Let's stop the bickering. We're wasting time.
It's your turn.
All right. I had a peculiar feeling about this case. Somehow I felt that the defense counsel never really conducted a thorough cross-examination. Too many questions were left unasked.
Well, while it doesn't change my opinion about the guilt of the boy, I agree with you. The defense counsel was bad.
It's a good point.
So,
This is a point.
what about facts?
So many questions were never answered.
What about the questions that were answered? For instance, let's take that cute little switch knife. You know, the one that kind of bright boy admitted buying.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's get it in here and look at it. I'd like to see it again, Mr. Foreman.
All right, I don't see why we need to see it again. We all know what it looks like. What do you think?
Well, the man does have a right to see to the defendant's true wishes.
RFID.
Now, this switch knife is a pretty strong piece of evidence, don't you agree?
I do.
All right, let's get the sequence of events right as they relate to the switch knife.
The boy admits to going out of his house at 8 o'clock after being stopped by his father.
Or punched.
Or punched. He went to a neighborhood store and bought a switch knife. The storekeeper was arrested the following day when he admitted selling the knife to the boy. The storekeeper identified this knife and said it was the only one of its kind that he had in stock. Now, why did the boy get it?
I looked up for a friend, he said.
Am I right so far?
Right.
All right, next the boy claims that on his way home, the knife must have fallen through a hole in his coat pocket. But he never saw it again. Now there's a story, gentlemen. You all know what really happened. The boy took the knife home, and a few hours later he stabbed his father with it and even remembered to wipe off the fingerprints. Everyone connected with the case identified this knife. Now, are you trying to tell me that someone picked it up off the street, went upstairs to the boy's house, and Stabbed his father with it just to be amusing?
No. I'm just saying it's possible that the boy lost a knife and that someone else stabbed his father with a similar knife. It's possible.
Take a look at that knife. It's a very strange knife. I've never seen one like it before in my entire life. And neither has the storekeeper who sold it to the boy. Aren't you trying to make us accept a pretty incredible coincidence?
I'm not trying to make anyone accept it. I'm just saying it's possible.
I'm saying it's not possible.
Who do you think you are? Look at it, it's the same knife.
Quiet. Let's be quiet.
Where did you get that?
Got a little junk shop around the corner from the boy's home. Cost $2.
Now, you listen to me.
I'm listening.
You pulled a pretty smart trick here, but you proved absolutely zero. Maybe there's 10 knives like that. So what?
Maybe there are.
The boy lied and you know it.
And maybe he didn't lie. Maybe he did lose a knife. And maybe he did go to the movies. And maybe the reason the cashier doesn't remember him is because he snuck into the movies. And maybe he was ashamed to say so. Is there anyone here who didn't sneak into the movies once or twice when they were young?
I didn't.
Really?
Well, we didn't have ones.
Maybe he did go to the movies, and maybe he didn't. And he lied. Do you think he lied?
That's a stupid question. Of course he lied.
Do you? You don't have to ask me that. You know my answer. Of course he lied. Do you think he lied?
I don't know.
Listen, if you want to be stubborn and hang this jury, I guarantee he'll be tried again. And found guilty, sure as he's born.
You're probably right.
So what do you want to do about it? You could be here all night.
Only one night. When they died.
Oh, come on.
Well, yes, that's true.
I think we gotta get on with it now.
All right, let's get going here.
Do you really think the old man could have heard it?
I don't see why not.
And you really think the woman saw it?
Of course she saw it.
He and his father did have a fight that night.
He's been a violent kid all the way. And while that doesn't prove anything,
Still, you know,
So I've got a proposition to make. I want to call for a vote. I want you 11 men to vote by secret ballot. I'll abstain. If there's still 11 votes for guilty, then I won't stand for it. We'll take in a guilty verdict right now.
Sounds fair. Does everyone agree?
I certainly am. Let's roll it.
Okay.
All right. Guilty. 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 Guilty.
6?
Please.
6?
6 guilty. 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 Not guilty.
I want to know, who changed their vote? Who did it?
All right. Who did it? What idiot changed his vote?
Is that the way to talk about a man's life?
Whose life are you talking about? The life of a dead man or the life of a murderer?
I want to know, who changed their vote?
So do I.
Excuse me. This was a secret ballot.
Nobody looked while we did it. But now I want to know who.
This was a secret wallet. We agreed on this, no? Now, if a man wanted to
What
make
do
a
you
secret...
mean? There are no secrets in here. I know who did it. What's the matter with you? You come in here, you vote guilty, and then a slick preacher tears your heart out with stories about a poor kid who just couldn't help becoming a murderer. So then you change your vote. If that isn't the most
Now hold it!
sickening.
I agree with you that the boy is guilty, but let's be fair.
Hold it! Be fair? That's what I'm talking about. We're trying to put a guilty man into the chair, where he belongs. And all of a sudden, we're paying attention to fairy tales.
Just a
Are you
minute.
me?
Disorganized,
It
gentlemen.
isn't organized, but let's try to be civilized.
Please, please. I would like to say something. I always thought a man was entitled to an unpopular opinion in this country. That is the reason I came here. I wanted the right to disagree.
Do you disagree with us?
Usually I would. But in this one case, I would have to agree with you. But the point I'm trying to make that in my country, I was ashamed to say
Oh,
that.
now if we have to listen to the whole history of your country?
Well, it is always wise to bear in mind what has happened in other countries when you aren't allowed to disagree. But we are, so let's just stick to the subject.
Yeah, let's stick to the subject. I want to know, what made you change your vote?
Yeah, I want to know too. You haven't told us yet.
Why do you think I changed my vote?
Because I do. Now get on with it.
There's nothing for me to tell you. You didn't change it. You were so sure of yourself.
Sorry. Okay,
Maybe
now.
you'd like to know why.
Let me tell you how
Any man wants to talk.
This gentleman chose not to stand alone against us. That's his right. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone, even if you believe in something very strongly. He left the burden to us. Stand with for support and I gave it to him. I want to vote us to him.
Well, that's fine. Now, if the speech is over, let's go on.
In the kid's favor, I vote not guilty.
Let's see what it is. Neither do I. They're clutching at straws.
Guilty as they get. Kid, I suppose.
It's that one juror keeps holding out, but he'll come around. He's got to. And fundamentally, he is a very reasonable man.
Sorry if you don't.
Yes, it is. What does guilty beyond a reasonable doubt really mean anyway?
What's a reasonable doubt?
Exactly. When life is at stake, what is a reasonable doubt? I mean, you've got to have law and order. You've got to draw the line somewhere. Otherwise, everyone will start lagging.
What's down here?
Too many. I wonder why. I really do wonder why.
Well, you do hear stories about innocent men who have gone to jail or death sometimes. And then years later, things turn up.
And then on the other hand, some killers get turned loose and so do it again. Squeeze out on some technicality. And they kill again.
Look, buddy. No. Now that things have kind of cooled off, well, I got a little nasty a minute ago. And just nothing personal.
Forget it. So look, supposing you answer me this. If the boy didn't kill the father, who did?
As far as I know, we're supposed to decide whether or not the boy on trial is guilty. We're not concerned with anyone else's motives here.
I suppose, but who else had a motive?
Father was along in years, maybe an old grudge.
Remember, it was guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. This is a very important thing to remember.
Everyone's a lawyer.
Supposing you tell us what exactly your reasonable doubts are.
This is not easy for me. feeling. Perhaps you don't understand.
No, I don't.
Feeling? Feeling? We're supposed to spend all night talking about your feeling? What about the facts?
You said a mouthful. Look, the old man heard the kid yell, "I'm gonna kill you." A second after that, he heard a body fall on the floor. 15 seconds after that, he saw the kid running down the stairs.
Where's the reasonable doubt in that?
That's right. We must not forget about the woman across the street. She looked into the open window and saw the boy stab his father. She saw it.
Now, if that isn't enough for you,
It's not enough for me. What is enough for you?
How do you like him? It's like talking to a dead phone.
The woman saw the killing through the windows of a moving elevated train. Now, I believe the train had 5 cars, and she saw through the windows of the last 2 cars. She remembers most of the significant details.
what do you think about that?
I don't know. It doesn't sound right to me.
Well, supposing you think about it. Lend me your pencil. Let's play some tic-tac-toe. Might as well pass the time.
This isn't a game.
Wait a minute!
This is a man's life.
Who do you think you are?
Right.
I've got a good mind to belt him.
Now, please. I don't want any fights.
Did you see him? The nerve, the absolute nerve.
It's alright. Calm down. Doesn't make sense.
How about sitting down? This isn't a game. Who does he think he is?
Were we talking about elevated trains?
Yes, we were.
So,
All right. How long does it take an elevated train going at top speed to pass a given point?
what's that got to do? Yes. I wouldn't have the slightest idea.
Neither would I.
I don't think they much.
What do you think?
About 10 or 12 seconds,
I'd say that's a fair guess. Anyone else?
I would think about 10 seconds, perhaps.
About 10 seconds, yes. All right, we've agreed 10 seconds. What are you getting at?
This. Hell train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. That given point is the window of the room in which the killing took place. Now you can almost reach out of that room and touch the other, right?
Right, that's right. So,
Well, let me ask you this. Have any of you here ever lived right by the L tracks?
I've looked close to them.
Make a lot of noise, don't they? I've lived right by the L tracks. Through windows open, the trains going by. The noise is always terrible. You can't hear yourself think.
So you can't do yourself. Get to the point.
The old man downstairs. He said that he heard the boy say, "I'm going to kill you." Then 1 second later, he heard the body fall. 1 second, that's the testimony, right?
right.
The woman across the street, she looked through the windows of the last 2 cars and saw the killing. Am I right? The last 2 cars. The last 2 cars.
What are you trying to get at?
An L train takes 10 seconds to pass a given point. Or 2 seconds per car. Now, the front of the L train had been going by the old man's window for at least 6 seconds and maybe more before the body fell, according to the woman. The old man would have had to hear the boy say, "I'm going to kill you," while the front of the L was roaring past his nose. It's not possible he could have heard it.
What do you mean? Sure, he could have heard it.
Was an L train going by?
He said the kid yelled it out.
The L train makes a lot of noise.
It's enough for me.
It's enough for me, too.
I don't think it's going to hurt.
Well, maybe the old man didn't hear it. I mean, the old man.
What are you people talking about? Are you calling the old man a liar?
Something doesn't fit, that's all.
Stand for reason.
Besides, the old man has nothing to gain by lying. Or does he?
Maybe attention.
What? What do you know about it?
It's just that I looked at him for a very long time. The seam of his jacket was split under his arm. Did you notice that? He was a very old man with a torn jacket, and he carried 2 canes. I think I know better than anyone here. This is a quiet, bright, insignificant man who's been nobody all his life. He's never had recognition. His name is finally knows it after 75 years. This is a very sad thing. A man like this needs to be recognized, to be questioned, and listened to. More than just once. This is very important.
And you're trying to tell us that he lied about a thing like this just so he could be important?
No, he wouldn't really lie. Perhaps he makes himself believe he's in the place and recognize the boy's face.
Well, that's the most fantastic story I've ever heard. How can you make up a thing like that?
I'm not making it up.
You must be making it up. People don't lie about things like that.
He made himself believe he's in the place.
What do you know about it?
I speak from experience.
What?
I am the same man.
I think we all understand now. Thank you.
If you want to admit you're a liar, that's fine by me.
That's too much.
What? The old man's a liar. He just told us so.
He did not say he was a liar. He was explaining.
Didn't you just admit to us that you're a liar?
Please. He's explaining the circumstances so that we could understand why the old man might have lied. There is a difference.
A liar is a liar. That's all there is to it.
Please. Have some compassion.
Please, gentlemen, we have our jobs and our duty here.
I think they've covered it.
I hope we have.
Is there anything else?
No, thank you. Anybody want a coffee cup?
Come on, let's get on with
I'll
it.
take one. Thank you. Now, there's one more thing I'd like to point out here. I think that we proved the old man couldn't have heard the voice say, "I'm going to kill you."
Well, I disagree.
Let's hear it through anyway.
But supposing the old man really did hear the voice say, "I'm going to kill you." Now, this phrase, how many times have each of you used it? Probably hundreds. Come on, Rocky, kill him. If you do that one more time, Junior, I'm going to murder you. We use this phrase every day. Doesn't mean we're really going to kill someone.
Aren't the circumstances alter that somewhat?
The old man was murdered.
One thing more. The phrase was, "I'm going to kill you." And the kid screamed it out at the top of his lungs.
That's the way I understand it.
Now, you say something like that the way he said it, you mean it.
How you mean it?
Now, let me ask you this. You really think the
I'd like to know why you changed your vote.
Oh, I think there's a doubt.
Where? Where's the doubt?
There's the knife.
Oh, come on.
He talked you into believing a fairy tale.
Go on, give us the reasons.
Well, there's the old man, too. Maybe he didn't lie, and just maybe he did. Maybe he doesn't like you.
You come in here and you try to make stories up out of thin air. And now you want us to believe that the old man really didn't see the kid run down the stairs? What's wrong with you?
Well, that's a testimony.
What are you basing it on? Stories that this guy made up? You should write for Amazing Detective Monthly. You'd make a fortune. Listen, the kid had a lawyer, right? Why didn't the lawyer bring up all these points?
Lawyers can't think of everything.
Oh, really? And now the old man didn't see the kid run downstairs? Uh-huh.
Yes, gentlemen, that is a testimony.
Wait a second. Did the old man say he ran or walked to the front door?
Ran, walked. What's the difference? He got there.
I remember now, he said that he went from his bedroom to the front door. That's enough, isn't it?
Where was his bedroom again?
Down the hall somewhere.
Down the hall somewhere? We just send a man off to die because it's down the hall somewhere?
Why don't we have them run the entire trial over just so you can get everything straight?
It's down the hall somewhere. Do you know? Do you know exactly where it is? Please, a man's life is at stake here. Do you know?
Well,
Mr. Foreman, I'd like to take a look at the diagram of the apartment, please. Mr. Foreman.
I heard you.
Well, all right. How come you're the only one who wants to see exhibits all the time?
I want to see this one, too. So do I.
And I want to stop wasting time.
Listen, gentlemen, are we going to start wading through all that nonsense about where the body was found?
We're not. We're going to find out what man has had 2 strokes in the past 3 years and Walks with a pair of canes and get to his front door in 15 seconds.
He said 20 seconds.
He said 15.
How can he judge how long 15 seconds is? He can't judge something like that.
Except 15, he was very positive.
You all saw the old man. He was confused half the time. How could he be positive about anything?
Well, yes.
Nope.
No, I don't know. Maybe you know. Yes, please. Now, this is a diagram of the apartment in which the killing took place. Here's a bedroom, another bedroom, kitchen, living room, bathroom. Here's the L tracks. Here's the hall. There's the front door, and these are the steps. Now, the old man said he was in bed in this bedroom. Says he got up, went out into the hall, opened the front door, and looked out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs. Am I right?
That's the testimony.
Wake me up when this is
15 seconds after he heard the body fall.
This diagram for 2 hours in court. Enough's enough.
Some of us are interested. Go ahead.
His bed was at the window. It's 12 feet from his bed to the bedroom door. Length of the hall is another 43 feet, 6 inches. So he had to get up, get out of bed, get his canes, walk 12 feet, open the door, walk another 43 feet and open the front door, and then look out just in time to see the boy racing down the stairs, all in 15 seconds. Do you really think this is possible?
Of course it's possible.
I don't see why not.
He would have been in a hurry. He did hear the kid scream.
He can only walk forward. He needed help into the witness chair.
You make it sound like a long... It isn't.
The old man. It's a long
What are you doing?
I'll try this thing out and see how long it took him.
You're crazy. You can't recreate a thing like that.
Perhaps, if we could see, this isn't what the point.
It's a ridiculous waste of
Let
time.
him do it.
I can't see any harm in it. It's foolish, but just go ahead.
Okay, now this is the bedroom door. How far would you say it is from here to the door of this room?
I say about 12 feet.
12 feet's close enough. Now what's around this table is about 40 feet. Now that's shorter than the length of the hall the old man had to move through. What did you say that?
This is insane. What makes you think you can do this?
Well, we can't stop him.
Do you mind if I try it? According to you, it only take 15 seconds. We can spare that. Just gotta watch it in a second. Okay, when you want me to start, stamp your foot. That'll be the body ball.
Alright. Coming from there.
We'll say he keeps his canes right at his bedside, right?
Right.
Thank you. Okay, I'm ready.
Oh, I'm going to hand it 60.
Okay, speed it up. Walk twice as fast as that.
This is, I think, even more quickly than he walked in the courtroom.
No, it isn't.
You think I should go faster? I will.
Just speed it up a little bit.
Stop.
Right.
What's the time?
15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 39 seconds exactly.
That can't be right.
39 seconds.
Hang on, no.
39 seconds.
There it is. The old cripple swore his oath it was only 15.
And he may have been a little bit off speed. That old critical moved that, but 24 seconds off. Now you know.
Far be it from me calling him a liar. Even taking into consideration the difference in the speed of you and the old man. You're still pointing. There it is,
It's my guess the old man was trying to get to the front door, heard someone racing down the stairs, and assumed it was the boy.
I think it's possible.
So, now I've seen all kinds of dishonesty in my day. But this little display takes the cake.
What dishonesty?
Tell him. You come in here with your heart bleeding all over the floor about slum kids and injustice. And you have some soft-hearted old ladies listening to you. Well, I'm not. I'm getting real sick of you. This kid's guilty. He's got to burn. We're letting him slip through our fingers.
Our fingers? Are you his executioner?
I'm one of them.
Perhaps you'd like to pull the switch.
For this kid, you bet I'd like to pull the switch.
I'm sorry for you.
Don't start with me.
What it must feel like to want to pull the switch.
Shut up.
You're a sadist.
Shut up.
You want to see this boy die because you personally want it, not because of the facts. You're a beast. You disgust me.
Shut up! Let me go! I'll kill him! I'll kill him!
You don't really mean you're going to kill me, do you?
Is everything okay here, gentlemen? I heard some noise.
Yes, everything's fine. You can take us back. We finished the thing.
What are you all looking at?
I don't see why we have to behave like children.
Nor do I. We have a responsibility. That is the wonderful thing about this democracy. That we are notified, yes, that we are notified by mail to come down to this place and decide the guilt or innocence of a man we have not known before. And we have nothing to gain or lose by our verdict. That's what makes us so strong. Let's not make this a personal thing.
Thank you very much.
Why do you think
We forget something. It's good to remember.
Well, I'm glad we're all going to be civilized. We're
Still nowhere. Nowhere somewhere. We're getting there, maybe. Maybe.
Who's got an idea? I don't know. I said we try another vote.
It's all right with me. Anybody doesn't want to vote?
Okay, let's do it.
Let's have an open ballot. I want to know who stands where.
That sounds fair. Anyone object? All right. I'll call to your numbers. I vote guilty. Number 2?
Not guilty.
3,
Guilty.
4,
guilty.
5,
Not guilty.
6,
Not guilty.
7,
Guilty.
8,
Not guilty.
9, 10,
Guilty.
11,
not guilty?
12.
Guilty.
That's 6 to 6.
I tell you, crimes being committed right here in this courtroom.
Vote is 6 to 6.
I'm ready to walk into court right now and declare hung jury.
All right.
There's no point in this going on anymore.
I'd like to know why you all changed your votes. Why you did, and why you did, and why you did. There are 6 men here who think we may be turning a murderer loose in the streets. An emotion won't do. Why?
It does not seem that the old man saw the boy running downstairs. I don't think it is likely that the old man heard the boy scream, "I'm going to kill you." Old men dream. And if the boy did scream, "I'm going to kill," we have the authority of this man to prove that he's not really going to kill him.
Let's just say this. Let's just take this to the judge and let hope other men handle this.
6 to 6. I don't think we'll ever agree on anything.
It's got to be unanimous. And we'll never convince him.
First I was alone. Now 5 others agree. There is a doubt.
You can't ever convince me that there's a doubt, because I know there isn't no doubt.
I'll tell you what, maybe we're a hung jury. Happy sometimes.
We're not going to be a hung jury.
But we are, right now. A perfect balance. Let's just take this to the judge.
If there is a reasonable doubt, I definitely don't see it.
That is there in my mind.
We'll make it a majority vote. The majority wins.
So you're saying that if 7 or more of us vote yes, then we are a hung jury? Tell them we're a hung jury?
Right, and since 7 or more of us vote no, then we're not a hung jury, and we go on discussing it. It isn't, see right.
It's the only solution.
I agree.
Are we agreed then? 7 or more votes yes, and the case is judged. All right, I'll call it the jury numbers.
Let's call out our votes.
Yeah. I vote yes for a hung jury. 2,
No.
3,
Yes.
4,
Yes.
5,
No.
6,
No.
7,
Yes.
8,
No.
9,
No.
10,
Yes.
11,
No.
12,
Yes.
66.
All right.
We can't even get a majority to decide whether or not we're a majority.
Well, I went along with the majority vote on this question. And I didn't agree with voting that way, not really, and I still don't. So I say no, we're not a hung jury. I still believe that boy is guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. And there's some things I want to find out from those men that change their minds.
So we're not a hung jury, so we go on.
Good, we go on. All right, why did you change your mind?
Well, he seems so sure, and he's made a number of good points. Well, he only gets mad and insults everybody.
Does the anger and the insult change the guilt of the boy? He did do it. Are you going to turn a murderer loose just because, oh, one of the jurors gets mad when he thinks a murderer is being turned loose?
That's true.
There's a doubt.
I don't think so. All right, the track is straight in front of the window. So let's take that point. So the L train would have made a low rumbling noise. L trains screech when they go around curves. But the old man could have heard a scream, which is high-pitched. And it is a tenement. They have very thin walls.
Good. Good, that's it.
And what if the old man was wrong about the time that it took him to get down the stairs, but right about whom he saw? Please remember that there were no fingerprints on the knife. And it is summer, so the gloves seem unlikely.
Now, you listen to this man. He knows what he's talking about.
And it may have taken a few seconds to remove a handkerchief and wipe away all the fingerprints from the murder weapon.
This is the point.
Exactly. What if the old man was wrong about the time that it took him to get down the stairs, but right about who he saw? Now, it may have taken the murderer about 39 seconds to get down the hall and down the stairs to the place where the old man saw him. The boy, that is.
Well, we reconstruct the old man getting out of bed and going to the door. We time that. Now let's reconstruct the actual crime.
As well as we can reconstruct.
I think a murderer can be 30 or 40 seconds pretty easily at that.
Well, let's reconstruct the killer.
Yeah, let's.
Hey, you do the stabbing.
I'll
All right, then. Why don't you be the one to get stabbed? You're younger than I am. And remember, take 1 second to fall.
And he was found on his side, right? His right side. So fall and roll onto your right side. Now,
Now, wait a minute.
if someone hates another person enough to kill them, don't you think it's reasonable to assume that they would look at their victim for a second or two?
Divorce yourself in this particular case. Just human nature.
That seems reasonable.
Stabbing someone isn't like shooting them, even when it's right in the heart. The father would have worked around on the floor for a few minutes. Riding, maybe.
That's quite possible. I think there would be enough oxygen in the system to carry him for 2 or 3 seconds.
And wouldn't the father have cried out?
Maybe the kid held his mouth.
That also seems possible. Also, there's another point we might bring out here. Anyone who's clear enough mentally to wipe the fingerprints away after murdering someone, well, that person's also clear enough mentally to look around the room, or the apartment in this case, to see if there are any other clues. Now, I think it would just be for a few seconds, but he would look around.
Just about the fingerprints, when did he wipe them off on the doorknob too?
Yeah, I mean, some guy was walking into my house and I knew he hated me and he was sitting there kind of wiping up the doorknob. I think it was kind of giving me a uneasy feeling.
So this has been done after.
This would have taken some time, too. Exactly. It would have taken a few seconds to wipe off the doorknobs. Now, you time the last one. Why don't you time the second, too? want me to start?
Gotta wait till the ending of the 60s.
I'm gonna kill you! Now remember, he would have wiped both knobs. Stop.
Right. 20, yeah, 20, 25, 29 and a half seconds, I'd say.
And whoever did murder the old man, and I know it was that boy, he still had to run down the hall and down the stairs, at least one flight of stairs.
What have you got to say about that?
I don't know, it still doesn't sound right to me. The story of the old man may well be true.
Except for the fact that he absolutely swore under oath that it was only 15 seconds.
We almost did to the video, it was 25 to 30 seconds later.
You're now admitting that the old man lied in one case and told the truth in the other. I admit that this does tend to confirm with the story of the old man, but he's in part now a proven liar, and this is by your own admission.
That may be true that the old man lied in part, but I think it'll be enough to change my vote once more.
How about you? What do you think?
Well, I don't know. I want to talk some more. At first I thought guilty. Then I changed my mind. Now I'm sort of swinging back to guilty.
You? What about you?
No, I am in real doubt, real doubt.
I say guilty. I was right the first time.
Now we're starting to make sense of it.
All right, it seems to be about 9 to 3. They were guilty.
One more question about the old man downstairs. How many of you here live in apartment buildings?
Wait a second. I don't know what you're thinking, but I know what I'm thinking.
What's that?
Well, no, I do not live in a tenement, but it is close. And there is just enough light in the hallway to see the steps. No more. The light bulbs are so small, and the murder did take place in a tenement. Remember how we stumbled on the steps?
The police officers were using big bulbs. Someone even had a flashlight, remember?
And an old man who misjudged the time by 20 seconds. On this we all agree. He looked down the dark hallway and recognized a running figure.
He was 100% wrong about the time. It took twice as long as he thought.
Then couldn't he be 100% wrong about who he saw?
You're crazy. You're making that up out of thin air. It's the most idiotic thing I've ever heard. We're a hung jury. Be honest about it.
So you all believe that there's no room for reasonable doubt?
Yes, I do.
Excuse me, but I don't think we understand the term reasonable doubt.
What? I don't understand. Look at you. Come over here running for your life, and before you can even get a big breath, you're telling us how to run the show? The arrogance of it.
Listen, no one is asking where anyone came from.
I was born right here.
Where your mother came.
Maybe we could take a few tips from people who come running here. Maybe they learned something we don't know. We're not so perfect.
Please, please, it's all right, then, please.
No, it's not all right.
Okay. Okay, I apologize. Is that what you want?
That's what I want.
All right, let's stop arguing. Who's got something constructive to say?
Well, something's been bothering me. I mean, this whole business about this down the rainbow league, you know?
Oh, no. Don't tell me we're gonna start bad again. They went over it and over it in court.
I know they did, but I don't go along with it. All right. The kid was 5 feet 8 inches tall. His father was 6 foot 2 inches tall. That's a difference of 6 inches. A very awkward thing to stand downward in the chest of a man who's half a foot taller than you are.
All right. You're not all going to be satisfied until you see it again. So I'm going to demonstrate it for you. Somebody get up. All right. Now all of you that 6 inches?
That's more than 6 inches.
Let it be more then. Look out! All right, now let's calm down. Nobody's hurt, are they?
No, nobody's hurt.
There it is. Measure angle. Down and in. That's how I'd stab a taller man. That's how it's done. Take a look at it. Tell me I'm wrong.
Did you ever stab a man?
Of course not.
Did you?
All right, let's not be silly.
Did you?
No.
Where you got all your information about how it's done?
What do you mean? It's just common sense.
Have you ever seen a man stabbed?
No.
I'd like to ask you something. This kid was an experienced knife fighter. He was even sent to reform school for knifing someone. Isn't that so? Look at this. Doesn't that seem like a pretty awkward way to handle a knife?
What are you asking me for?
Wait a minute. Give me the knife.
Have you ever seen a knife fight?
Yes, I have.
In the movies?
In my backyard, on my stoop. The vacant lot across the street. Too many of them. Guess you try to forget those things. Anyway, anyone who's ever used a switch knife knows that you don't use it overhand. You use it underhand, like this.
So the kid couldn't have made the kind of wound that killed his father.
Oh, I suppose it's conceivable he could have made that kind of move, but it's not likely. Not if he's had any experience with switch knives.
I don't believe it.
Neither do I. You're giving us a lot of mumbo jumbo.
What do you think?
Well, I don't know.
What about you?
Listen, I'm a little tired of this whole thing already. Let's just take this to the judge and let somebody else handle it.
Before we decide anything else, I want to try to pull this whole thing together.
This should be good.
He has a right to just let him go ahead.
Opium time is 2.
Let's hear it.
I've been advertising. I'm used to the big shots putting these together. Let's chip up a few shots and see if any of them land on the green.
I want you all to look at this logically and consistently.
We have. Guilty.
I want to know, is the kid smart or is the kid dumb? What do you mean? This kid is an experienced knife fighter. The night of the murder, he bought a knife, a switch knife. It wouldn't take a very stupid kid to go and murder a man, his father, with an instrument that everyone would associate with the kid.
I quite agree with you. He's dumb.
However, if you were dumb, then why did he make the kind of wound that an inexperienced man would take with a knife?
I'm not sure I understand.
To murder someone must take great emotion, great hatred, and at that moment, he would handle the knife as best he could. A man who had been trained would do it as he had been trained, underhand. A man who had not been trained would go overhand. But the kid is being very smart. He's smart enough at that moment to make the kind of wound that an amateur would make. That man is a smart man. Smart enough to wipe fingerprints away, perhaps even smart enough to wait for a train to go by to cover the noise. How's the kid smart enough to be dumb?
Oh, wait a minute.
Well, the woman across the contract saw the murder through the contract, so someone on that contract could have seen the murder too.
A possibility, but no one did that we know of.
It's taken awfully dumb of him to take that chance, doing the murder if the train was on.
Exactly. A dumb man. A very stupid man. A man swept by emotion. Probably heard nothing. Probably didn't even hear the train coming. And whoever did do the murder did as best he could. So, the kid is dumb enough to do everything to associate himself with a switch knife. A switch knife murder. And an instant after the murder, he becomes smart again. He's smart enough to make the kind of wound that would lead us to suspect someone else. And a moment later, he's dumb enough to do the killing as a train is going by. And then a moment later again, he's smart enough to wipe fingerprints away. To make this boy guilty, you have to say he's dumb from about 8 o'clock to midnight. Then about midnight, he's smart 1 second. Then dumb for a few seconds, then smart again. And once again, he becomes stupid. So stupid that he does not even think of a good alibi. How's a kid smart or is a kid dumb? Say this boy is guilty, you have to toss his intelligence out like a pancake. There's a doubt. 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 I hadn't thought of that. And the old man on the stand, he swore that it was only 15 seconds. He insisted on 15 seconds. But we all agreed that it must have been almost 40 seconds.
But Does the old man lie half the time? And then does he tell the truth half the time?
For this kid to be guilty, you have to say that he's dumb, then smart, then dumb, then smart, and so on and so on. And for this kid to be guilty, you have to say the old man is a liar half of the time, and the other half of the time he must tell the truth. You can reasonably doubt.
I think I'm still unreasonably now.
Well, I want more talk, and I've had it.
I want another vote.
All right. Another vote's been called for. I guess the quickest way is show of hands. Anyone object? All right. All those voting not guilty, raise your hands. That's 9. All those voting guilty? 3. The vote is 9-3 in favor of acquittal.
I don't understand you people. How can you believe that this kid is innocent? You know how these people lie. Don't have to tell you, they don't know what the truth is. Let me tell you, they don't need a real big reason to kill someone either. You know, they get drunk and bang! Someone's lying in the gutter. No one's blaming him. That's how they are. You know what I mean? Violent. Human life just doesn't mean as much to them as it does to us. So what's going on here? Listen, these people drinking and fighting all the time, and if someone gets killed, so someone gets killed. They don't care. Okay, now sure, there's some good things about them. Look, I'm the first to admit that. And I met a few who are pretty decent. That's the exception. Most of them, it's like they have no feelings. They can do anything. What's going on here? I'm trying to speak my piece and you... Listen, they're no good. There's not one of them who's any good. We gotta watch out. This kid on top, well, don't you know about him? I'm trying to speak my piece and you... Listen to me!
Right, I've had enough of you. Moving around to get him to split your skull. All right, sit down, everybody. I still believe the boy is guilty, and I'm going to tell you why. To me, the most damning evidence came from a woman across the street who claimed that she actually saw the murder committed. Now, as far as I can see, she has unshakable testimony.
That's right. It's the whole case right there.
Let's go over her testimony. What exactly did she say?
I believe I can recount it accurately. She said she went to bed at about 11 o'clock that night. Her bed was next to the open window, and she could look directly across the street and see right into the boy's room across the L tracks. She tossed and turned for about an hour. She couldn't fall asleep. And then at about 12:10, she turned toward the window, looked out, and saw the boy stab his father. This is completely unshakable testimony. Frankly, in view of this, I don't see how any of you can vote for acquittal.
That's right. There's nothing you can say against that.
Those were my thoughts exactly. Shall we say that on one side of the tracks, this man has good points, and I accept the validity of those points. On one side of the tracks, there is doubt. But what can you say about the story of the woman? She saw it.
What time is it? 13 minutes of 8. I don't suppose I'd like to go home and finish this recording. I've been sick for months. Not a chance.
Can't you see the clock without your glasses?
Not clearly.
Oh.
Glasses are a nuisance, aren't they?
Well, what do y'all do when you wake up at night and you want to know what time it is?
I put on my glasses and look at the clock.
I just lie in bed and wait for the clock to chime. I have this beautiful one. My father gave it to us when we were married, my wife and I. It was 10 years before we had a place to put it.
Do you wear your glasses to bed?
Of course not. No one wears my glasses to bed.
The woman who testified she saw the killing, she wore glasses. What about her?
Did she wear glasses?
Of course. She wore bifocals. I can remember so clearly that they looked quite strong.
That's right, bifocals. She never took them off.
I think it's logical to say that she was not wearing them when she went to bed. And I don't think she put them on to glance casually out the window. Now, the woman testified that the killing took place the instant she looked out the window and that the lights went out a split second later. I don't think she would have had time to put on her glasses then. Now, perhaps this woman honestly thought she saw the boy kill his father. I say she only saw a blur.
You know what she saw. Maybe she's farsighted. How does he know all these things?
Does anyone still think there's not a reasonable doubt?
I always wonder, but there is reasonable doubt.
I still think he's guilty.
Is anyone else?
No. I'm convinced now there's a reasonable doubt.
You're alone. 11 votes not guilty, 1 guilty.
Well, I told you. I think the kid's guilty. What more do you want?
Your arguments.
I gave you my arguments.
We're not convinced. We're waiting to hear them again. We have time.
You're the guy. You made all the arguments. You can't turn now. A guilty man. A murderer. It's gonna be turned loose into the street. You've got to stay with me. This kid's got to burn.
I'm sorry. I don't think I'm wrong often, but I guess I was this once. There is a reasonable doubt.
We're waiting.
You're not gonna intimidate me. I have a right.
Yes, you have a right.
I told you. I think the kid's guilty.
If you want to hang this jury, well, there's nothing we can do about that except hope that some night in a few months, well, you might get some sleep.
You're all alone. It takes a great deal of courage to stand alone.
If there is another trial, then some of us will point these things out to the various lawyers.
It's gonna be hung jury, that's it.
Hopefully someday your conscience will stop bothering you.
All right.
They're waiting. Not guilty.
Not guilty.